I hope everyone's been keeping fit, well, safe, and ultimately super healthy. London, the UK has been locked down now for roughly about 3 weeks now. I know some other parts around the world have been locked down for a lot longer. Videos are going around on WhatsApp and text messages and on the internet. And as I explained in my last podcast, to do with recessions, investments, art, Richard Hamilton, etc., there are lots of so-called opinions, facts. There are comments made regularly by multiple different organisations or people. Sometimes quite confusing, it's quite conflicting, and I've certainly been, confused at some points with the current situation with the COVID-19 and the ongoing debate about coronavirus and whether it's propaganda, whether it's a government sort of conspiracy, whether it's a genuine virus and an illness which is affecting so many people out there. And I've come up with my own conclusion of it. My podcast today isn't to talk about that or reveal what side of the fence I'm on, but I was listening to a one of these short posts that someone sent me, and I felt it was really pretty good. It was a doctor which was being interviewed on an American TV channel, news channel. I think it's called KX4. I might have that wrong. The doctor is called Dr. Scott Jensen, and he was talking about the coronavirus. He was talking about how it is to be a doctor at the moment in America. He was talking about cases. He was talking about his view, and he said three things which I wrote down. He said, ultimately, the public need to use their head. Secondly, he said, you need to think for yourself. And third of all, you need to go to different sources. And when he said that, I felt he was spot on, because whether you listen to your mum and dad's friend, family, next door neighbour, doctor, politician, a nurse, an entrepreneur, a CEO, you got to remember humans are people and we make mistakes, even if we're in a position of power, even if we're highly qualified. And also sometimes people have an agenda. I'm not saying I believe in this. I'm not saying I disbelieve in it. Like I said, I've come up with my own conclusion, and I'm not here to really kind of go into that right now. Maybe later on I will. But I think so many people are listening to far too many other people, and they're going off their opinions as their facts. Everyone's turned into some kind of expert when it comes down to wellness, nutrition, health, fitness, vaccinations, or they've turned into the experts when it comes down to conspiracies. And I think the three things that the doctor said at the end of the interview is not only very, very profound for right now, and it's very on point, but I think in everything in life, I think you need to use your own head. I think you need to think for yourself for 1 second, and you need to definitely look at multiple different sources. I recommended in the last podcast that if you're going to buy into an investment, regardless whether you're thinking about buying art or whether you're looking at other markets, you need to go to definitely different sources. You need to get common ground. You need to get consistency, and then it will help you make up your own mind. And don't do things out of anger or out of sheer excitement. These emotional tools can be quite catastrophic sometimes, because you end up doing something that you're emotionally driven towards. I mean, most fights and most arguments and most retaliations come from not logic. It's coming from some kind of emotion, which is bad. Logically, you need to stop, think about what you're saying, and really take your time to think over things. And one of the best lessons I've kind of taught myself and picked up from very successful people is the benefit of time, just sitting on something, sleeping on something, chewing over the fat for a little while. And when this doctor said that, most people are listening just to the news, and they're getting dragged into some kind of mindset that is kind of disarming. They're being told not to go to work. They're being told not to go outside. They've been told this, told that. They're saying that the whole world's crashing. Unemployment's going up. Viruses are killing multiple people, even healthy people. And the real reality to it is there are more people surviving than dying. Most people in the world will never, ever catch it. Most people in the world if they do catch it, they're going to have very mild or no symptoms whatsoever, and there are going to be a very rare amount of people that are going to die. Now, is it serious? It's fucking really serious. Should we treat our health and our families and our friends and our life in general very seriously? You should definitely fucking do that. Remember, I've said this before on podcasts. If you don't have your own plan, you become someone else's. And sometimes the media will drag you into a narrative or into some kind of story where you stop thinking for yourself and you get pulled into something. You need to stop, think logically, don't think emotionally. Whether your neighbour's got a compelling story, whether it's, your local GP, or whether it's a news reporter or your best friend or this person or that person down the pub, look, take on these things, but just do your own research. When my son was born, there were certain suggestions, and I've done my own research, and I come up with my own conclusion, and I made my own decisions about nutrition, about wellness, about this and that, and I've done it for myself. And I've changed my diet over the years, despite what some even nutritional experts were telling me. They was telling me that I should have red meat and white meat and everything else. I haven't eaten meat now for over a year and roughly about 4 months, and I've tested it and I feel much better because of it. So I can't have a nutritionist who's meant to be this expert saying to me, you have to eat it because that's what everybody else does, or this is, I've stopped doing it and I feel much better. So therefore, I believe the choice I made was perfect for me. Now, somebody else might do exactly the same thing as me and actually have different results, and it might not be perfect for them. So part of what I'm trying to say as well is, if someone's got a certain belief about what's happening with the coronavirus, someone's got a for and someone's got against. Look, it's easy to try and project all your beliefs on somebody else, but do you know what? You got to be respectful. You got to understand where someone else is coming from, and understand you could be wrong. But also at the same time, governments could be wrong, doctors could be wrong, the news could be wrong, your best mate could be wrong, your family could be wrong. And even if they're saying it to you in a very compelling way and an emotional way, and sometimes I get angry about certain things, just stop, step back, use your own head, think for yourself, and go to different sources and take your time to get some common ground, and then you can make your own conclusion. And once you've got your own conclusion, you can either share it or not, keep it private, and whatever anyone else thinks, still be open-minded for change. But it doesn't mean if someone shares a different opinion to you that they're fucking wrong and you're right, and that's the way it is. Not everyone's going to agree. Not everyone's going to share the same religion. Not everyone's going to live the life that you're going to live, and vice versa. Not everyone's going to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone's going to work for someone. It's just the way the world works. But right now we're in slightly unusual times, and this is a chance for you to really think about what's going on out there. Use your own head. Is things really that bad, or are there opportunities out there? And I'm telling you right now, there are so many fucking opportunities. Whilst everyone is scared, there is massive amount of opportunity in multiple different areas. So get yourself educated. Go out there with the intent of doing the right thing. Serve people. Give value. Yeah, I really think you can make yourself down in this let's say unusual, uncharted territory, recession, depression, whatever you want to call it. It's a great opportunity to grow, exceed what you've ever done before, and really make yourself a success. That's my 2 pence, guys and ladies. Hope you enjoy my podcast. I hope really give me some feedback on the Woodbury House podcast that I done last week. I've had lots of comments. I've had lots of people call in. Lots of people trying to already make appointments down the studio, and the Richard Hamilton market's booming. And this is another factor, another thing that is solidifying what I've just said. There are opportunities out there, and certain things like the art market in Richard Hamilton, artwork is booming. So please get in touch, please subscribe, and remember, guys, be happy, never content.